So if you follow me on Instagram, you saw it, okay? Everybody's trying to figure out where it came from, okay? How'd you get that 13 grand check? Assignment, wraparound down payment? Nah. Lease option down payment? Nah, not at all. Now, this check actually came from a fundamental, strategy you can call it, that every investor needs to have in your arsenal. When you purchase a property, of course, you need to be looking at cash flow. Part of that cash flow, you need to include insurance, okay? So typically what happens is once we get a property under contract, even before that, when we're looking at the numbers and the cash flow, I'm kind of looking at what the insurance is going to be, all right? I'm kind of looking at what the taxes is going to be. So I send over all the information over to my agent. I'm using John here in Greensboro, and I'll tell him as much information as I can give him on the house and what our plans are to do to update it, okay? So that's like the year build. That's like the condition that is in, what we plan on doing with it. What's our exit as far as are we buying, holding, are we fixing and flipping, or are we buying as is to sell as is, and then of course we're looking for, as much coverage as we can get for the least amount, okay? So I go ahead and get an estimate from him before we even close. So my binder is already ready before closing. All I have to do is just send him an email and let him know, hey, great, we closed, okay? Now, before this incident, my strategy was on closing, I shoot him an email, say, hey, we closed, and then the policy is effective the next day. Okay, let me tell you why that's wrong. So I purchased 6 houses in one day, all of them single families, all of them already rented, and all of them cash flowing at the numbers that I had with the numbers that I was doing. Literally 1 hour later, before the deal was recorded, 1 hour later, there was a kitchen fire. I know, crazy, a kitchen fire at this house right here. This is the log cabin, okay? Honestly, I kind of bought this house because it was a log cabin. It's like the first time I ever did that, so that was fun. But hey, electric, oven, refrigerator, kitchen caught on fire, man, crazy, okay? So when the tenant called me, okay, because that's one of my other processes as well, before I even close, I go and get all the tenant phone numbers, okay? The tenant called me and says, hey, Sawan, kitchen just caught on fire. I'm not home yet. My husband was there. He's burnt up. He's going to the emergency room. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I instantly call my attorney, Brian, don't record. Okay, and I did this for a couple of reasons. Number one, honestly, I kind of was gonna be cool with it either way, buying it because the numbers was good. But at the same time, I needed a chance to renegotiate, okay? Almost with every deal, we have a kind of a period that we can go back and renegotiate the terms. And in particular, it's a kitchen fire. The deal hadn't been recorded yet. We had already signed the closing documents, but it hadn't been recorded yet. Perfect time to get a reduction, okay? So I called the seller. I said, hey man, tenant just called me. This is what's going on. That new oven that you put in caught on fire. I told the attorney to hold off on the closing on this one, but I went ahead and recorded all the five other properties that I purchased from him. He was like, oh my gosh. He was kind of scared and nervous at that time because since this is still his problem, it's not my problem anymore, okay? So instead of negotiating price, what we came up with was a strategy that I got from, one of my close friends, okay? His name was Elijah Rubin. He's out there on the West Coast. I met him at a couple events, and his main strategy is negotiating fire damage, okay? He actually put that negotiation of him filing the claim, meeting the adjuster, negotiating with the adjuster, making them, giving them points to write up a full scope of work, right? And then having the seller endorse the check over to you so that way you can make an additional profit on the deal. Crazy, okay, crazy. Now that's where this check came from insurance money, okay? Now a portion of it you gotta be smart with because yes, we do want to upgrade the property, but we also need to be smart as investors to use some of that money, to pay down any debt that you might have on the house and kind of control your portfolio and what your goals are with your portfolio. But that's how you do it, okay? Make sure you get insurance because insurance is the secret to success. It is the secret of most millionaires, okay? So now my policy has kind of changed a little bit. I'm getting my policy activated on the day before we close. So that way, if the seller isn't willing to negotiate like we did this time, I'll have coverage and insurance, okay? So make sure on every single property you're going out and getting insurance, and pay attention, because next week we're actually gonna have a powwow with me and my insurance guy about this incident, and probably about 45 minutes worth of free game on insurance policies, how you should set them up, how you should find the best agent for yourself, and what's important for you to look at in your insurance paperwork, okay? So go out, take action, get insurance on your properties, and cash them fat checks. Have a blessed day. That's good. Yep.